What's up, everybody? We have a lot that we're going to be getting into today. Tamra Judge is pleading with Vicki Gunvalson, practically begging her to leave her alone. She said, leave Brittany alone. And then, I don't know if you've heard of this new show, but we're about to expose the secret lives of some Mormon wives. I hope you are ready. Let's dive in. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. Welcome on in. What's going on, everybody? What's today? Thursday. Happy Thursday. Shout out to the live chat on YouTube. Shout out to everybody listening on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts. Just a reminder, guys, 3 things that can really support the podcast. 1, subscribe. So if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this on your favorite podcast app, you can hit the follow or the subscribe button. That way you're always in the loop. And 2, leave a comment or leave a review. Apple Podcast reviews are super helpful. I know you guys are out there always showing me all sorts of love. Let me give a little shout out right now. Let's shout out RSJMN3 says, Zach is the best. You are the bomb. Love your podcast. You're hysterical. My absolute favorite. We also have Yank New York 631. What's not to love? Zach is one of the hardest working content creators out there. There's a reason we hear and see him on the Real Housewives and Vanderpump Rules show. He's a class act. Well, thank you. I don't know if I'm a class act, but listen, a bitch knows how to hustle. You know what I mean? And yes, I have been on Vanderpump Rules, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. They used my voice to open up the Shannon Bedore breaking news on Real Housewives of Orange County this season. And the podcast has also been featured on Summer House when Lindsay and Hannah Berner had their beef. It was because Hannah Berner came on my podcast and said some things about Lindsay that Lindsay wasn't happy with. I think it was the season 5 opening. The premiere episode. I'm always getting the premieres of the finales, but thank you guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Please keep sharing. Please keep commenting and leaving reviews. They are super, super helpful. Okay. That said, we do have a lot that we're going to get into. So there's this new show called Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and I had a really juicy interview with a couple of the cast members, so much so that I had to break up the interview into 2 parts. So you'll listen to part 1 today, later on in this episode, just to kind of get an intro into 2 of the ladies, Whitney and Macy. Okay, I'm just telling you right now, Whitney and Macy are 2 of the important ones that you're going to follow on this new show. It's on Hulu. It premieres Friday, so tomorrow, or depending on when you're listening to this, Friday, September 6th is when it premieres on Hulu. All of the episodes drop, so I'm telling you, binge it over the weekend. It's a super quick binge, and then tune in on Monday's episode of the podcast. That way you get the full interview with the spoilers, okay? So you're going to want to tune in and watch. It's juicy. They're like these, it's like a younger, like hotter, edgier, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Like Salt Lake City always has like drama, right? In the sense that like you have Cuckoo Crazy Mary and you have Jen Shaw going to prison. But this is like, you know, these Mormon wives, they were caught up in this like swinging scandal. They were all on TikTok, and then one of them went live and was like, listen, we were swinging, we were sharing each other's husbands, we're all part of the Mormon faith, and you kind of get a little peek into the Mormon world in Utah and the drama and who's trying to be the queen bee, because they're all trying to be the leader of this mom talk TikTok brand that they've built, which is how most people know them. So listen, they know how to work. There's drama, there's tea, there's all sorts of things. And after you watch, you're going to be like, what? Whitney, I have questions. Macy, I have questions. So you can tune into that this upcoming Monday for all the spoilers to come. Get ready. It's juicy. Okay. I will give you a little preview of it at the end of this episode. But that all said, let's talk about what should we start with? Well, we had I think Real Housewives of Dubai has finally come to an end of the season. Now we have the reunion. I did not watch any of Dubai this season. I don't know if you did. I just wasn't particularly that interested, to be honest with you. It was just kind of boring. And even when I saw the reunion trailer, I also thought that was kind of boring. I am looking forward to, what do we have? Salt Lake City, which I just got the screener for it today. So I'm excited to watch that. Maybe I'll give you some like well, I probably not before members only, because I do have an event tonight that I'm going to with Andy for Spotify. There's like some like Coca-Cola and Oreos collab that they have going on that we're going to learn about. So later today, Thursday evening, Andy and I will be going to that. So maybe I'll do members only when I get back, because I'll be a little Liddy City after that. But I don't think I'll have time to watch the Salt Lake City premiere before then. I do have the screener. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'll probably watch it over the weekend, and maybe I'll give some tea on next week's podcast, or I'll give like some tea. Well, I'm not allowed to say anything. Like, I can't give any spoilers away, but we'll see. I'll let you know if it's good. Maybe I'll drop a hint or two on what to look out for. But yeah, Dubai. Let's see. How did the Dubai ratings do? I feel like I'm a little concerned for Dubai. I think it might actually get canceled. All of the shows are kind of struggling at the moment. So it looks like Dubai, 250,000. That's not very strong. 230,000. That's not very strong. I mean, these Dubai numbers are not really holding up. What was the last one before that? These are 350,000. That's, season high. Okay, that was a couple weeks ago. But I mean, if the finale and all these others are not really landing, then that tells me that if Dubai couldn't get higher than 350, I mean, it's still kind of new. We have 300 million. So it looks like we went from 300 to 350, and then it went back under 300. We'll see. The finale numbers aren't in yet, but I don't know. Maybe they'll give it one last shot. But I mean, even like OC has been like pulling like 600,000 to 700,000, so that's not like super strong. Whereas like Beverly Hills was hitting over 1 million, Vanderpump Rules was like 900 to 1 million, Jersey I think was like right around the 700 to 800 mark. So I don't know, 200. If we're barely, if our high is at 350, that's a little concerning as well. But I mean, look, we have $1 million listing LA. That's like 400,000 to 500,000 per week. Below Deck, I'm always so shocked at how many people legit watch Below Deck. I mean, I guess $1 million listing isn't doing too bad. They're definitely over 400,000. Below Deck is always so high though. That's crazy how well these are doing. But we'll see. Do you want Dubai to come back for another season? Have you been watching? People have said it's good. I don't know. I'm looking forward to Beverly Hills. I'm looking forward to Salt Lake City. We haven't gotten a Beverly Hills trailer yet, huh? Well, if we have Salt Lake that's coming back, in September, yeah. Salt Lake, September. Beverly Hills, I assume we maybe get come December. Maybe, I don't know if November is too soon. I'm thinking maybe December, at the latest January. We have no update on Vanderpump Rules. We have The Valley that's filming right now. I saw that Michelle and Jesse, they seem to be in a good place because Jesse like took a photo. Jesse's so hot from The Valley. I know he's like got anger issues and like hello red flag, but like, oh God, such so juicy baby. Definitely here for the Jesse messy. And then he's like, he posed with Michelle's new boyfriend. So I'm like, oh, okay. So everyone seems to be good. We're in a good place. Cool, cute. Okay. Live your best life. Do you, boo. And I guess the other like big thing outside of Dubai, was Tamra Judge. Oh, Lala had her baby. Baby number 2. Congrats to Lala Kent. She brought in baby number 2. She posted an Instagram story, which is exciting. I think she had the baby on the 3rd, September 3rd, which was that the due date or was Monday the due date? When was Monday? Oh, Tuesday was the 3rd. So she had the baby on Tuesday. So yeah. Well, Janelle. Oh, Stassi Schroeder just did an exclusive with Bustle. Oh, she looks hot. Stassi, on why she's so open about her past struggles with self-esteem, on how she sees herself working in reality television. I'm like a roach, a survivor. You can't get rid of me. Okay. On deciding to return to TV, I never felt like I was completely done with reality TV. Okay. Fair. Fair. I knew it would have to be what feels authentic to who we are as a family, and Bo was super supportive of the idea. Okay. She also has her new book coming out called You Can't Have It All, The Basic Bitch Guide. Something I've learned over the last couple of years is that I love the word no. There's such power when you say no to opportunities or going to a party. In terms of becoming a mother, your backbone gets so much stronger. Okay. On her relationship with Vanderpump Rules producers, Stassi says, my whole life was on Vanderpump Rules. It was all I knew. I would have stayed on forever. I'm still friends with a lot of producers, and they always joke, remember when you said that you were going to give birth and let one of the cameramen just literally be right there in your vagina? I mean, I think that was her intention, right? And then, life had a different curveball for her. On turning down the Valley spinoff. Oh, they're asking her all the questions I would want to ask. I'm hoping to get Stassi back on the podcast because obviously I interviewed her. Was it last year? Was it 2023? Yes, it was 2023. It was last year. Oh my God, I actually wore this Nirvana shirt to her one of her live shows last year. She gave me tickets to come to her show here in downtown LA. And I did. And I wore this exact shirt. Although it fits a little differently now. On turning down the Valley, there's a better chance of me doing Celebrity Big Brother UK. Everyone has a fear of remaining relevant, but there's so much power in being out of the spotlight. You have to evolve a little bit. You need to let people miss you. No one wants to see, hear, watch, or read the same thing over and over. So taking a break and not being relevant is powerful, just like saying no. Well, she didn't take a break intentionally. She was put on pause, like hard pause, like stop. She wasn't even put on pause. She was put on stop. She kind of had to take a break, but it ultimately worked in her favor. Even like Kristen and Jax, they were also put on pause, and now they're back, and everybody's like loving watching them on television because they're just a hot mess. She says even through all this shit, how it makes you a sociopath. She has a soft spot for reality TV. She still loves it. And now juggling motherhood with cameras. One of the main things that keeps me up at night is what are the things that my kids are going to be talking about to their therapist. What are they going to be talking to their therapist about the way I want to talk about my parents? The only thing that they can be pissed about is that I showed them to the world. But I think what's the alternative? They could be 18 years from now and say, why didn't you show me? True. Okay. Well, those are some highlights that I just got emailed about, Stassi in her interview with Bustle. I'm assuming she's doing this to promote her new book. When is the book out? Oh, the book comes out this month in September. Yeah, and she's like on a book tour. Maybe I'll go to her book signing. Right? That would be kind of fun, no? I don't know. Oh, we even have some clips of the interviews. Wow, they sent everything. Okay, we'll have to look those after. Tamra Judge, not happy with Vicki Gunvalson. So yesterday we touched on this like back and forth that the two of them have been having, where Vicki has been talking about Tamra quite a bit because she doesn't like how Tamra's been treating Shannon Beador. She's been, like we talked about yesterday, I think Tamra thinks she's coming at this from a place of tough love, but she's not really coming at it from a place of tough love because the audience sees that as her just being like nasty. I think her intention is to give tough love, but like I said, there are so many other factors this season. Alexis Bellino and John Jansen coming after Shannon. I think Shannon's kind of getting the, underdog edit this season for sure. So I think a lot of factors have come into play with Shannon this season that are not helping Tamra's narrative of trying to position Shannon as somebody that has a drinking problem. Can't help that, right? But she had she got a chemical peel and an upper facelift, like a brow lift, and she's been doing like Instagram Q&As, and a lot of people have been asking about Vicki. And at first she was just like, I don't get what Vicki's problem is. I don't get why Vicki keeps talking about me. And then she ended up posting another one later in the day on Wednesday afternoon, basically like breaking down and saying that like she was like sobbing and saying that like Vicki's just being so horrible, and for Vicki to bring up her child, and Vicki doesn't know what it's like to lose a child, and she's just like, leave me alone, Vicki, leave me alone. Like, what do you want? You want my spot on the show? You can have my spot on the show. Like, it was very dramatic, and a lot of people are saying like it was over the top and a little too theatrical, to the point where people didn't really believe that she was they didn't believe like her intentions and that she was genuinely hurt by any of this. But I don't know. I think she's just going through it. I think she's getting a really rough, I don't know if I would say a rough edit this season, because obviously she's doing and saying these things that she's often been rewarded for. I think it's similar to like Lala, right? When the audience really turned on Lala. I think Lala was very much, I think the producers and Andy were right in saying that Lala was the voice of reason. I know people are going to be pissed about me saying that because a lot of people don't like Lala. I do. You know what? Fuck it. Lala was the voice of reason this past season of Vanderpump Rules. I know that was my opinion watching it, but not only that, but you have the producers who are watching it from a very different lens, not watching it from the audience perspective. And listen, a lot of the loudmouths on Twitter, I feel like, have a very, very basic path. Not everyone, because sometimes people hear me say things and they take it as like a personal attack. I'm talking about the cuckoo crazies that foam at the mouth and they're just like rabid and savage on Twitter, okay? If you have just commentary and you're just like, I didn't love Lala this season, or I didn't really like her, she was a little distasteful this season. I'm not referring to you. I always have to clarify that because people are like, how dare you come after me? I've watched your show for the last 25 years and I've loved you. And I'm like, yo, bro, chill. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about like the cuckoo crazies. You're not cuckoo crazy. Okay? I don't think that you're cuckoo crazy. I think that you have a very sensible, good head on your shoulders that also, I know that, the community that we have here is also really smart and intelligent. So a lot of my commentary is very rarely about you specifically and more about just, the really dense ones online. But so I do think that Lala was a voice of reason. It just didn't land. And I think it's because there really was this like weird obsession with just like, like being obsessed with Ariana in a really strange way. I get supporting her and rallying around her, and I definitely support her and rally around her, and I'm happy for all the success that she's had. I think she killed it on Love Island. My positions on Ariana have not ever changed. They've always been very consistent. I think people just like to focus on certain things that I say rather than other things that I say and run with pieces and then try to make up my narrative from there, which is not entirely true, because if you listen to the full context of what I've said, I've, defended Ariana, I've defended Lala, I've been critical of both of them, maybe more so Ariana than Lala, but it's because the way I viewed it from my own POV with my own opinion, I personally landed more with Lala, and, I understand where Lala was coming from. But I don't think it was like a jealousy thing from Lala. But whatever, I digress. I want to get back to OC. So when it comes to OC, I think Tamra's now in that place where the audience is just so intense. And it's just, it ruins these shows, right? I feel like, they did it to Lisa Rinna. They did, like, at one point, The Villain, people loved watching The Villain on these reality shows. They loved the people that were, poking and pushing the storylines forward. And then we got into, like, this really weird place where we, like, wanted pitchforks to, like, tear down the villains, right? And we, like, want to, like, get them fired, and we want to annihilate them. And I've seen a lot of the chatter online, because I try to be mindful of it, but I try not to like dig too deep into it, because I feel like it's not healthy when you're fighting with people on Twitter. And I know I've had my moments and I've gotten caught up into it, but I feel like we need to like appreciate the villain for what the villain brings, because it's like, if there is no villain, then we have a show like Real Housewives of New York, which, isn't as toxic, but it's also, what's the overwhelming response from people is that it looks boring, and people aren't interested or aren't as excited to watch the new season of New York because it does look fucking boring. And not only are these women so hyper aware of the cameras and super aware of their images, I think Sai is not very, I'm surprised, because Sai is like the actual influencer one, and I feel like she doesn't really care about her image, nor does Aaron, nor does Brynn. I think those are the three strongest on the show. I think Jezzel works because she has that like Ramona level of delusion direction. She's like a modern Ramona. But overall, the show's just kind of flat, right? New York is kind of flat. And that's what you get when you take out the villain, or that's what you get when people are afraid to be the villain and they're afraid to stir the pot and they're afraid to, kind of push the story forward, because now the audience is like immediately calling for people being fired. And now everyone's calling for Tamra being fired because they're like, Tamra's so evil. Tamra's so this. I'm just like, it's so funny because like the things that I've seen people write about Tamra or Lala are nasty, evil, and vile. And yet they're the same people that are calling Tamra and Lala nasty, evil, and vile. I think with Tamra, it's a bit tougher, right? Because I feel like Shannon's really going through it. Whereas with Lala, Ariana kind of had already made it on the other side, and Ariana was already living her best life at that point, And so it was a little different, but with Tamra, like, I get where people are coming from, but I do still think that Tamra is coming from or trying to come from a really good place. So I understand people's feedback when they're kind of like, well, Vicki bringing up Tamra's kids and Vicki, kind of poking at Tamra and taking some cheap shots. It's the same thing that Tamra does on the show. I get that. And I see that. And I think this is not a good season for Tamra. I think she's really going through it. I do think we have to normalize allowing the villains to be the villains and, have our love-hate relationship with the villains on these shows without wanting to like destroy them, because like the way people have reacted to like Margaret Josephs, like they want to like kill her business. Remember Lisa Rinna when people were calling QVC to like get them to fire Lisa Rinna? Like that level, this like weird, unhinged, like truly mental illness. Again, if you're not one of the crazies that was calling QVC, then I'm not talking about you. But like, that's truly like an unhinged level of mental illness. Like, let's now call that what it is, right? Truly unwell people that are taking what we used to enjoy on reality television and now just like making it way bigger than it needs to be and raising the stakes way more than we need to be raising them. And I know people have given me shit online and they're like, because I'm like, you guys are like so obsessive about talking about these shows. And they're just like, well, so are you. You literally have a whole podcast about it. I was like, yeah, but the difference is like, this is my job. One, I love it. And two, I get paid for it. You sit there and troll with your sad life on the internet, just wanting to tear people down. So yeah, we are a little different and you are a little sad. And I'm sorry if that's condescending, but like, don't be a fucking troll. Like, just don't be a troll. It's not that hard. Enjoy these shows, watch these shows, make Bravo fun again, make reality TV fun again. We have the antagonist and we have the protagonist. Let's love them both for the roles that they have on the show, right? We can have feedback, we can have opinions, we can have, civil discourse over how we view these shows without having to have this crazy mob team mentality. And I see a lot of you guys comment on the show or talk about it in the reviews about how you're so anti this team mob mentality. And I like that and I appreciate that. And that's, I think, what sets our community different from a lot of other people on the internet, right? Because they encourage that, or they say what the popular opinion is because they know that that's the popular opinion and that's going to get them quick and easy likes. It's going to get them faster growth on YouTube or whatever because they pander to people. But at the end of the day, there's no loyalty to any of those people. And that's why I love this community so much is it's like we're able to have civil discourse. We're able to have differences and opinions and we still respect each other at the end of the day. And we still, numb out and have a glass of wine or a martini or a beer and we watch these shows and we enjoy them. And then we come and we kiki about them, And so when it comes to the Tamra and Vicki of it all, it's hard because I'm torn. Personally, I like Tamra. Personally, I think that Tamra is an asset to the show for sure. Objectively, it's tough because she is very unpalatable this season. She does have moments of redemption, right? When we saw the Traders event where we see the three of them and they're taking shots and dancing, the Tres Amigas having their moment, or even after Tamra comes at Shannon when they're sitting down to have dinner and then afterwards Shannon goes out and cries and comes back and then Tamra's like, listen, I do love you. I am here for you. So I feel like there are those moments of redemption that we do get from Tamra in the season. People are just choosing to not look at those and they're only looking at the isolated instance where Tamra is being pretty nasty towards Shannon. I wish she weren't. like I said, personally, I like Tamra. I've, seen her out. We've hung out socially. I got to hang out with her when we all went to Erica's show last summer in Vegas. So on a personal level, I do like Tamra. Same thing with Lala. But at the same time, I've also had a lovely interaction with Shannon. I adore Ariana. Always a great time when I see her. She's always lovely to me. We always have a great, rapport. So I don't know. I try to not let those relationships affect me. But I agree with you. I think Tamara's being a little nasty. But just because somebody, I don't know, I guess there's the argument that's like, well, it's a taste of your own medicine. And maybe this will kind of help Tamra see that maybe her approach sometimes is a little tough. And when you're on the receiving end of it, it's not as fun. So maybe it'll make her a little more mindful. I don't know. But the video with her crying and offering her spot to Vicki, it was very theatrical, maybe a little performative. I know that's what a lot of people like to refer Tamra as is performative. But I think, as somebody that also kind of gets labeled performative sometimes it's just naturally and innately who you are. Like, you just have a really big personality. So you're not intending to be performative. You just come across that way because that's just who you are. You got the mouth. You're going to use it. You're going to run with it. And you're going to have those moments, right? Trust me, if I were ever on reality television, I would absolutely be the villain. I would absolutely not be. I would be the Lisa Rinna. I don't think I'm nasty. I mean, I guess I have more Erica tendencies of like, I can be cool, calm, collected, but when you push me to my level, I will go low and I will, but I'm not like trying to be a vigilante like Lisa Rinna, who's like, let me find and take down the bad guy this season. Let me, call it like it is. I don't know. I have those traits and those tendencies to me. So trust me, we've seen them. When I get Zactivated, we've seen it happen. So yeah, it is what it is. But on that note, I do want to share my interview but let me know, drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts on, obviously everyone's opinions and feedback are always welcome. Just always keep it cute. We'll only be nasty about it. But I do want to, and please listen, I want you to tune into this new show on Hulu. It's called The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I know I'm pimping it out, but it's just because it is so good. And it's going to fill our housewives gap until we have Salt Lake City return and Beverly Hills return and the Valley. Well, we're a ways from the Valley, but we have Atlanta, which I guess is still in production. We have Southern Charm, which I believe comes back in December, maybe January. We have Summer House that just wrapped production. So we do have some shows in the works, but we're in a bit of a lull. So Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, it's good. It's young, it's youthful, there's still drama, there's scandal. It's good. And I have Whitney and Macy. Remember those names because they're going to be making an impact this season. Whitney and Macy on the podcast. Here's a first look at that interview to give you just a little teaser about them, about Mormon life, about swinging, because there's a difference between soft swinging and hard swinging, being a bad Mormon, all of that stuff. So just know that even though some of them, not all of them, some of them are bad Mormons and others are really good Mormons on the show, but even though they're Mormons, there's still not a lack of drama at all. Okay? Is good. But so here, be sure to catch Secret Lives of Mormon Wives on Hulu this Friday. All episodes drop. Binge it this weekend so we can catch up next week. All right, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. I will talk to you later. Enjoy my interview. And I will say, all right, ciao for now. The show, when Hulu reached out and who was like, who do you want? I was like, obviously, I want the two stars of the show being Whitney and Macy. Ladies, welcome to No Filter.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Excited.
Are you excited that the show is finally out?
Yes.
I feel like we've known about it for so long.
It's been a long journey.
So long.
And it's here.
It's finally here.
Is it as easy as filming some TikTok videos?
No.
Definitely not.
No.
Emotionally, no. for sure. But then, like, you don't have to do any effort. Like, you're just living life, you know? So that's the easy part.
Yeah.
But then emotionally, not so much.
Yeah, it's pretty draining.
So prior to being in reality TV, so you guys created this TikTok account called Mom Talk, where you guys would go on, you would film videos about your lives as moms, as Mormon women in Utah, and then that eventually got enthralled into some scandal with some swinging.
Yeah.
Soft swinging. Can you define what soft swinging is for the audience? Because I think there's a little confusion of soft swinging and hard swinging, and if, you know, Cialis is what's required to take it from soft to hard.
Yeah, I'll let you take that, Whit.
You know when it first came out, I actually had to Google it. I had to Google what soft swing was because I didn't know either. Basically, when you're swinging, you're actually having sex. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Okay. But when you're soft swinging, it's like you're doing everything else, just not actually having sex.
Just not like the penetration part.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
From what we understand.
That's what Google says.
Literally.
So were you both raised in the Mormon church?
Yes. Both of us.
Okay. And so was that something you always knew you wanted to continue as you became adults, or was there ever a point where you questioned maybe potentially leaving the Mormon church?
I think for me, I had a period of a couple of years where I was inactive. I don't think I ever questioned leaving. I was just kind of like living life, like being a bad Mormon, I guess you want to say, like having a little party phase in college. But I knew I always wanted to come back. And I think because the church is centered around like community and family, that's why I really loved it, as I love the community aspect of it. And it feels like home kind of thing.
I think if you grow up in a religion, it's always good to question it.
Yeah.
Which I did, definitely. I served a Mormon mission that I loved. I absolutely loved doing that. And during that time, you know, you learn so much about other religions because you're conversing with so many people about it. That was actually the time I questioned the most, and I'm grateful for that. But no, I've never wanted to leave the church.
And so what inspired you guys to pivot into going on social media and kind of being open with that? Because I think with any religion, there's obviously going to be stereotypes and criticism. I mean, as I'm sure you guys are facing now that, you know, you're speaking so openly about being Mormon on television. And I'm sure there are many people that are not part of the Mormon faith or that are part of the Mormon faith that obviously have their ideas. I've seen some of the feedback on social media.
For sure.
But like, what inspired you guys to just pivot into being so open online?
I think for me, I started social media with the intention of just sharing my story because I was Mormon and I got pregnant outside of marriage and I have like a kind of a crazy backstory. And so I wanted to share my story to inspire women that they could do it too. Like not get pregnant out of marriage, but I mean like they can overcome anything that happens to them. And so that's kind of how I started social media, and it started like kind of growing from there. So for me, I went on social media with the intent to like share a story and inspire. And then from there, I guess it's like sharing our faith here and there. And I don't think we really share too much of our faith on social media at all. I think it was Taylor who would like make satire, you know, with like the Mormon culture.
Yeah.
And so like I think we all do a little bit, like kind of troll ourselves with religion, but like we don't talk about it too openly, I feel like, until a show.
Yeah, if anything, we just like state that we're Mormon on social media.
Yeah.
But on the show, you definitely see more behind the scenes of how
Yeah.
we actually live it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get
And
like
so
the
was
inside
that
look.
nerve-wracking considering you guys were opening yourselves up to potentially more criticism?
For sure. I think I worried a bit. I don't want people to think I'm mocking the church. I don't want people to think I'm being disrespectful, but I also don't know how it's going to be edited. So I don't know how they're going to make it seem, even if I'm not doing something that's disrespectful. So I think that was a little bit of a worry for me, at least with the show.
Yeah.
I think we just wanted to be very mindful, very demure.
Very demure.
Going into it. Because we wanted to know, at least for me, I wanted to make sure that my individual intentions were in the right place.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I just did a TikTok about the very mindful, very demure.
Isn't she the best?
She
So good.
is,
I
but
love
I
her.
said, you know what? Some days I don't want to be mindful and demure. I want to be
Yes.
chaos.
I love it.
I'm dead.
So I feel like some of the feedback from, you know, people online is that they feel like this may be making a mockery of Mormonism. Do you guys identify with the term bad Mormon?
I don't now. I think
Yeah.
when I was doing things that were like very against the guidelines, I was like, yeah, they call it Jack Mormon in our church. Like other members will call you a Jack Mormon if you're like, you know, not following the guidelines. But I wouldn't consider, at least those who are active in our group, active in the church, to be bad Mormons by any means.
And so how do you define bad Mormon? Like, is it drinking, cursing?
Yeah, like, I don't even think I would say the word bad Mormon. 'Cause, like, you're not a bad person if you do those things. I would say, like, the culture calls it Jack Mormon, which means that you're drinking, like, you're probably having sex outside of marriage.
Yeah, like, you're considering yourself Mormon, so, like, you may believe in it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're living it.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Heather Gay?
Yeah, I love her.
What do you think of her book about being a bad Mormon?
I've never read it.
Kind of...
I haven't read it either. Yeah. I actually haven't seen The Housewives of Salt Lake, but I heard it's super good, so I think I have to start it now.
Do you guys feel like you're the younger, edgier Housewives of Salt Lake?
I wouldn't say edgier, because I will say from what I've seen of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake, like, we're definitely more, there's members in our cast that are more devout than they are.
One of them's in prison right now.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But they even seemed like a little bit more farther removed from the church, whereas, like, we're still living it. Like, we're teaching our children it and so on and so forth.
Like, you don't drink, right?
No.
And so, there are still a lot of those, the lifestyle's a lot stricter, which I found funny watching the show, though, realizing, because it's no alcohol, no caffeine, but yet soda is so big and used up.
So we can't drink caffeine. That's a miss. Yeah.
They don't want us drinking coffee and tea, but like a lot of us do. Like, I drink coffee and tea.
It's in what's called the Word of Wisdom.
Got it.
And it has these guidelines where, like, no smoking, no drinking, no coffee. So I think that inspired these soda shops that you see in Utah. Because, people will, like, wake up and get their morning coffee. So now you have these moms waking up and getting their morning. It's called Swig.
The drive-thrus at 9 a.m. have
drinks.
Moms in their minivans getting
and
44 ounce soda.
With caffeine.
Like big gulp.
Yeah,
like
they're
44
loaded with
ounces.
Caffeine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mama's still getting her fix.
I do both. That's why I drink a little bit of coffee, because to me it feels more natural.
Yeah.
And, like, soda's, like, synthetic, like, same with, like, energy drinks. So, like, I do have a little bit of a challenge with that guideline, because I'm like, I feel like it's healthier to drink my iced coffee.
So do you feel like you're hoping to change the stigma around the Mormon faith with the show?
I wouldn't say, like, I want to change the stigma. If anything, I just, like, want to be relatable to other women, Mormon women who may be feeling the same way, or relate to at least one of us who is living Mormonism a certain way. Yeah. It's different from maybe whoever their parents were.
Yeah, like, we want more people to feel, like, accepted. Like, you can be Mormon, but you don't have to be perfect. Like, you can wear your tank tops, you can drink a coffee and still be Mormon.
I will say, the way that you guys approach it on the show, like, I don't feel like the cast or the editing is trying to force Mormonism down anybody's throats in any way.
That's good.
And at the same time, I also feel like you guys are still respecting your own personal boundaries of being like, we don't drink or we don't do this. Like, obviously, one of the spoilers ahead. One of the trips that we see on the show is the trip to Vegas, which I know people also see in the trailer as well. Yeah. Is this trip to Vegas, and how that definitely triggers some of the women because it questions their relationships.
Yep.
So do you feel like there were times where maybe you did want to bend a bit to, like, impress the cameras? Okay, that's all you get for now, because I can't give you any spoilers just yet, which is why you need to go and watch the show. Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, streaming this Friday on Hulu. Go, check it out, watch it, binge it this weekend, because Monday, spoilers are coming. Lots of questions, okay? Lots of questions. Get ready. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning into No Filter with Zack Peter. I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Stay tuned. All right, give me a follow, Just Plain Zack, all over the internet. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack on the Instagram. And all new episodes of No Filter with Zack Peter will be coming all next week. We're live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday mornings, streaming live on YouTube and available on all podcast platforms. Listen, subscribe, leave a review. Those reviews are so helpful. You can listen to the podcast on all your favorite podcast apps, or you can watch it exclusively on Spotify and YouTube. Okay? Spotify and YouTube have full video that you can stream. All right, guys. Have a great weekend. I know this episode was a bit short and sweet, but, just wanted to give you a little something going into the weekend. And hopefully there'll be some real hot, juicy breaking news coming. Because I feel it in my gut. There's a big scandal brewing. All right, guys, I love you. I appreciate you. Have a great weekend. I will talk to you next week. Ciao for now.